Hey you guys, it's Mrs. So Fabulous, and I'm here to tell you guys a story. Alright, this is gonna be a real talk, let's be real session with Mrs. So Fabulous. Alright, let me motherfreaking tell you what happened to me today at the motherfreaking mall. Alright. Now, before I start my story, can you please leave a comment below in the description bar? And please be honest with me. I know I'm going to get some haters out there, but please be honest with me. Do I look like a prostitute? Really? Do I? Like, does my personality, do my posture, do I appear, do I come off as being a fast ass? Do I? Please leave your answer in the description box below, please. So, let me motherfucking tell you what happened to me today at the mall. So, I'm minding my business. I'm visiting a couple of friends. I have a couple of friends who are security guards at the mall. So, we're talking and we're in the food court and we're standing like, there's like a big open area where you can see all 3 floors down. Now, if you're from Rhode Island, I'm talking about the Providence Place Mall. Now, for some reason, I'm staring at Brookstones, which is on the 2nd floor, because they got this like helicopter type thing that records, you know, that records stuff as you're flying around. And I was like staring at it in a daze, like, because I'm like, wow, that's cool. You know, like, just minding my business. When at the corner of an eye, I see a gentleman walk up to me, next to the banner next to me, you know, and that kind of like snapped me out of my daydream. So, you know, I got up and kind of walked away. But as I'm walking away, I kind of sense him like, you know, looking at me, like, you know, following me as I walk along. So I'm walking and I kind of stop, like, so I turn around and I look at him and I'm like, hi. And he's like, hello, all excited. Now he's an older gentleman, I'm about to say mid-50s, early 60s. He has a blue suit on, he had glasses on, and he was like, hi. Like, all excited that I said hello to him. He's like, hi, how are you? I'm like, you know, people who know me, I am a people person. You're going to engage in a conversation with me, I'm going to engage back. So I'm like, I'm fine, how are you? And he's like, I'm good. He was like, you here shopping today? I was like, nah, you know, just, I'm window shopping for myself. I'm getting a list of everything in my head that I want. So come Christmas Day, when I get my monies, I can go shopping. So he's laughing. So, you know, we're casually chit-chatting. I'm asking him what he does. And he's marketing, what does he do? Like, something with a bank. I don't know. I just know he got money. So he's like, and you know, just quick chit-chat real quick. So, you know, I'm like, all right, cool, you know, get ready to be like, oh, nice to meet you, and walk away. Now, so he goes, well, so you're not shopping? I'm like, no, I'm just window shopping. And he was like, oh, all right, well, you know, do you mind if I, you know, walk around with you? I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, we can, you know, walk around, and if you see something that you like, he's like, I'd be honored to get it for you. Now, ladies, if a motherfucker asked just willingly, you don't even need to ask them. If somebody willingly offers to take you shopping, take it. So I was not about to pass that up. I said, word? And he was like, yeah. I was like, well, that's very generous of you. And he was like, yeah, I don't mind. He's like, you know, I'm here on business from Chicago. And he was like, you're a very attractive lady. So he was like, yeah, why not? He's like, I was like, all right, whatever. I didn't see no harm in it. So my friends who are security guards, you know, they're looking at me, you know, they're giving me that eye like, girl, you need some help. You need us to come get you. So I was like, let me talk to my friends real quick or whatever, and I'll be right back. So I go over to them and they're like, girl, you know him? I'm like, no, I don't know him. And they were like, I was like, but he trying to take me shopping. They were like, oh, do that, bow. They're like, come back to the security office and let us know what you got. So I'm laughing. I'm like, all right, all right. So we're walking around the mall, just chit-chatting, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he's asking me what's my favorite store. Now, I don't know why I always do this. I wouldn't answer his question. I didn't want to say the usual, oh, like Forever 21 or H&M, you know. So I was like, well, what is your favorite store? Because I already had in my mind that I wanted to go to the Apple store if you was willing to buy me some. I already knew that off rip. So I'm like, well, where do you like to go shopping when you normally go? He's like, well, I'm a very simple man. He's like, you know, I love going to the Apple store when I go to the mall. I said, oh, motherfucker was reading my mind. I said, well, me too. So We go down to the second floor. Now, mind you, we're walking by Victoria's Secret, and he's like, oh, well, all guys love to go to Victoria's Secret. He's like, do you want to go in there? He's like, maybe I can watch you try on some stuff. Boo-boo. This wasn't a lie. I was so happy I had a real excuse for why I couldn't go into Victoria's Secret to try on something for this man, because Victoria's Secret do not carry my size. So I was like, no, they don't have my size. He looked at me like in disbelief. I was like, no, they don't got my size. So he was like, well, there gotta be some kind of store in here that carries your size. No, sorry. So he was like, well, what store do you want to go in? I'm like, I don't know. He was like, well, I don't even know what other stores are in here. So we taking a look at a directory. This motherfreaker, right? He tried to play this real slick, okay? Real slick. He freaking, as people are walking by, mind you, it's Christmas week, mad people in the store. So he's trying to put his arm around me, you know, so people don't bump into me as they walk by. This motherfucker got his hand on my butt. I'm like, woo, you know, just scooching over, like, hee. So he was like, all right, so here's the plan. He was like, what store do you want to go in? So I'm like, shoot, you trying to spend some money. Let's go to BB, right? So he's like, all right, we're going to go to BB first. We're going to go to Apple store next. And then we're going to go to the fragrance store, like Bath and Body Works. So I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, where you want to go first? And coincidentally, they're all like right next to each other. Triangle goes BB. It goes BB, Apple store, Bath and Body Works. So we go down there, and my first knowledge in my head is, well, let's get the big stuff out the way. So we went into the Mac store. So we're playing on the little iPads or whatever, you know, and he's being a creep because he's talking about Google Earth, how he loves Google Earth. You can spin the little earth, put your hand on it, and zoom in, and you can see your house. And I knew he was only trying to do that so he can, you know, get me to show him where I live. Thank you, Jesus, the app wasn't working at the store. So, whew. So he was like, oh, well, wouldn't it be nice if I got you one of these? I said, yeah, it would. He was like, well, you want one? I said, hell yeah. And he was like, well, let's get it. I was like, I don't know. And he was like, why? What's wrong? I said, well, I want to know what you want in exchange for this iPad. Hands on my hips and all that. Shoot. At this point, I went from being all nice and cutesy to being real ghetto with this man. I'm like, listen, what are you looking for? And he was like, well, since you're asking, all I want is your company. I can do company, boo-boo. I can give you all the company you need. What is company for you? He was like, oh, you know, just a little bit of fooling around. I said, what kind of fooling around? And he was like, you know, just fooling around. I said, no, I need to know what fooling around is. I said, because my fooling around and your fooling around is two different things. My fooling around is us right here playing on this iPad. This is fooling around to me. What is fooling around for you? Then this motherfucker started putting his hand up my shirt. Oh, Jesus. I was like, woo, 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 woo. I was like, listen, So I was like, listen, I got to go to the bathroom real quick. So I run to the bathroom. I'm calling all my friends. Ain't nobody answering. So I call my boy Mike. I'm like, Mike, listen, what do I do? I said, I need to know what to do right now. So my boy Mike's like, listen. He was like, yo, get the iPad and run. I was like, nigga, I'm not freaking running. He was like, yo, just run. But I just knew this man was going to cause a scene. I was like, I just can't run. And he was like, yeah, just get it and run. And I'm like, ugh. So then, since my friend's a security guard, so he was like, why don't you have him get the iPad as you walk out the store. You know he's going to try to touch your butt again. Have one of the security guards already out there waiting. As soon as he touches your butt, cause a scene. Start acting up. Man, listen, ladies, let me tell you something. I wish I had balls to do some shit like that. I really do. I really and truly do. But I did not have the balls to do this. So I'm like, you know what, whatever. I said, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this by my rules, all right? So I went up to him. I pulled him aside. I said, listen, sweetie. I was like, I said, sweetie, you can have company. I said, you can have company. I said, but we're going to play by my rules. And he was like, oh, yeah, put his hand on my butt again. I said, see, rule number 1, don't touch me. And he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm like, don't touch me. I'm like, I don't even freaking know you. I was like, this is weird for me. I was like, it's not every day somebody just randomly walks up to you in the mall and says, oh, I want to take you shopping. And he was like, yeah, I know, blah, blah, blah. So, long story short, basically he can sense I'm uncomfortable. So he was like, well, why don't you give me your email next time I'm in town? He was like, we'll do this the right way. And I can take, he was like, we'll just, you know, start off fresh and we'll just go out to eat. So I'm like, all right, whatever, blah, blah, blah. All I want to know is you still going to give me the iPod at the end of the day. Right? Even if we meet up next time, right? So I give him a bullshit ass freaking email or whatever. So we're getting ready to walk away from each other. So I'm like, wait. I said, well, why are you in the mall now? You ain't trying to give me a gift card? I was still trying to get something out this man, all right? And this motherfucker, let me tell you, this nigga was like, well, he was like, well, you said you're a Gemini, aren't you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I know your good side is telling you no, not to, you don't know me. He's like, but I know your bad side is telling you that you think I'm hot and I'm sexy and you really want to go out with me and you want to flirt and kiss and I'm going, yeah, that's what, And he was like, I mean, I'll still get you something if you decide to go with your bad side. I was like, goodbye. I started booking it down the mall. I walked mad fast to the freaking security office. I ran in there. My friends are like, where your bags at? I thought you just went shopping. They're like, girl, listen, I'm expecting you to come back up in here with 50 shoes. Like, what's going on? Man, let me tell you something. That shit was crazy. That shit don't just happen to everybody every day. That shit does not happen to you every day. And I just had to share that with you guys because that shit was just like, woo! Sir, you alright? I know 'tis the season to be jolly, fa la la la, la 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 la, but there will be no ho ho hoing over here. Alright? Shoot. But yeah, tell me what you guys think of this story. If you guys have ever had something like this crazy happen to you, let me know in the comments below. But remember to have a nice and wonderful day. Remember to always rate, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/MissSoFabulous.TV. Facebook, facebook.com/MissSoFabulous. And you guys, stay tuned for the next video. Bye.